There was once a land, as verdant and as lush as this one, a land of boundless beauty, where the air sang with the joyous cries of many different species of bird, where each leaf was so green that they seemed to shine in the sun, which shone all day long, and in the night the moonlight bathed everything in its tranquility. Among the long blades of grass, small furry creatures frolicked and played, and in the ponds, lakes, and rivers, fish and birds swam, enjoying their peaceful existence. There were no malevolent forces here. Of course, there were larger animals and birds that preyed on the smaller ones, but nothing was killed for an unjust reason. The best way of describing it is that there was some form of understanding between all the creatures that inhabited this world. It was unspoken, but understood by all, allowing them to live in harmony. The creatures of this world were very much like the ones of our Earth, both in appearance and intelligence. Without humans to interfere, this land managed to sustain itself for centuries. Its inhabitants carried on as they had from the beginning, eating, sleeping, mating, and eventually dying. This cycle repeating generation after generation. However, the days of this paradise were numbered. The first tragedy to befall it was what we would call an ice age, caused by a large asteroid passing in front of their suns, blocking them. This caused all the lakes, rivers, and ponds to freeze, and the trees, which usually blew gracefully in the wind, became still and silent. Nothing survived this cataclysm, but eventually, the asteroid passed completely and warmth returned. After a long time, the cycle of life returned to the planet and eventually reached levels prior to the Ice Age. Despite the apparent recovery, it would not be long before calamity struck once again. During the time that life was re-establishing itself there, on our own planet, our species was beginning to experiment with interstellar travel. At the same time that the planet reached the same levels of life it had prior to the Ice Age, we entered its solar system. It is an example of the cruelest irony that this planet, only starting to flourish again, was rich in a mineral called siglarite, which was prized by Earth authorities. Because of this, the greed inherent in humanity, after finding out about the riches hidden in the planet, the spacefarers who discovered it didn't bother to investigate the myriad of life readings they were receiving. They firebombed the planet. The creatures ran and fled, but nothing could outrun the flames. Within hours, the entire planet had been burnt to a cinder. Once it had cooled down, the astronauts landed and set up mining operations. Within years, the entire planet had been reduced to a thin layer of crust surrounding the molten core. The corpse of this once magnificent world was orbited by small lumps of rock and particles of dust regarded by the miners as unimportant. After the resources of this world were exhausted, the miners moved on, like a plague of locusts, towards their next victim. It is not surprising that our species is regarded as parasites. The universe is littered with examples of populous, beautiful planets turned desolate wrecks by our avarice. These stories should act as warnings to us all. If we are not careful and we continue on our current path, then our obsession of cannibalizing planets to gain resources and easy wealth, which has already caused us to abandon our home world, shall surely lead to our destruction. I have no doubt that what survives of the many species whose lives we have ruined would view that as a good thing, and hope and pray that it occurs soon.